The phone rang at 2 a.m. Harry almost didn't answer. Then he saw the caller ID, Julie, City Hospital. "Hello? Mr. Harry?" Her voice was shaking. "I need to tell you something, and I need you to not react right now. Just listen." "Julie, it's the middle of the night. What's wrong?" A pause. Too long. "The baby your wife is carrying," she whispered. "Sir, I don't think it's yours." Harry sat up in the dark, heart slamming against his ribs. "What did you just say?" "I've seen things at the hospital, things I shouldn't have. I'm sorry, I couldn't stay silent anymore." He gripped the phone tighter. "Say it again, clearly." "Oscar, your wife's doctor. They're not just doctor and patients, Mr. Harry. I've seen them together, late nights, locked doors, the way they talk to each other. It's not professional." The room spun. 10 years. 10 years of waiting, praying, hoping for this child. 10 years of Julia crying into his shoulder every time a pregnancy test came back negative. And now, this. "You're certain?" His voice came out flat, dead calm. The calm before something breaks. "I wouldn't call you at 2 a.m. if I wasn't." Harry closed his eyes. He thought of Julia's face 3 months ago, glowing, tearful, clutching his hands. "Harry, it's finally happening. We're going to be parents." He had cried that night. "Actually, I cried." "Julie," he said slowly, "does anyone else know what you know?" "No, sir, just me." "Keep it that way." His jaw tightened. "I'm not going to accuse my wife based on a phone call. I need proof. Real proof. Can you help me get it?" Silence on the line. Then, "What kind of proof?" "Everything. Every meeting, every message, every second they think no one's watching." "Mr. Harry, if this is true, what are you going to do?" Harry looked at the framed photo on his nightstand. His wedding day, Julia laughing, his arms around her. "I'm going to smile," he said. "I'm going to smile at both of them every single day until I have enough to bury them both." He hung up. Downstairs, he heard footsteps. Julia was awake. "Harry?" she called softly. "Are you okay? You look pale." He turned to her, forcing the warmest smile he had ever faked in his life. "I'm fine, John," he said. "Just thinking about our baby." She smiled back, placing a hand on her belly. "Our miracle." Harry's smile didn't waver. "She has no idea what's coming." 3 days later, Harry sat across from a man named Rashid, the best private investigator money could buy. "I need everything," Harry said, sliding an envelope of cash across the table. "Dr. Oscar, my wife, Julia. I want to know where they go, who they call, what they hide." Rashid studied with him. "Are you sure about this? Once you open this door, you can't close it again." "It's already open," Harry said. "I just need to see what's on the other side." 5 days later, Rashid called him into a quiet cafe. "Mr. Harry, it's worse than you think." He slid photographs across the table. "Julia, Farhan, a hotel entrance, time-stamped." "This isn't recent," Rashid said. "I pulled records going back 8 months, before your wife even got pregnant." Harry's hands were steady, but his voice cracked slightly. 8 months? "There's more." Rashid opened a folder. "Dr. Malik and your wife, they weren't strangers before this marriage. They dated in college, broke up right before she met you." Harry stared at the photo of Farhan's smiling face. He'd shaken this man's hand, thanked him, trusted him with his wife's body, his child's life. And this, Rashid pulled out one final document, a bank correspondence. "Your wife inquired about a lawyer 3 months ago. Divorce settlement terms, asset division. She was mapping out how much of your company she could claim." The room went silent. "She was pregnant when she inquired about this?" Harry asked. 2 weeks pregnant, according to hospital records. It wasn't an accident. It was a plan. That night, Harry sat across from Julia at dinner, watching her push rice around her plate, glowing with her practiced happiness. "You've been quiet lately," she said. "Is everything okay at work?" "Just tired," Harry said. "Stress. You know how it is." "You work too hard." She reached for his hand. "Once the baby comes, you'll have to slow down. Spend more time at home." He looked at her. Really looked. The woman he married. The woman who was already planning his downfall. "Julia," he said carefully, "do you ever think about Farhan? From college?" Her hand froze for half a second. Just half a second, but he saw it. "Why would I think about him?" She laughed, too quickly. That was years ago. I don't even remember what he looks like. You saw him 6 hours ago, Harry thought. I have the photo. Just curious, he said, smiling. Small world that he ended up being your doctor. Small world, she echoed, and took a sip of water to hide her face. Harry smiled and changed the subject, but under the table, his fists were clenched so tight his nails cut into his palm. 2 weeks later, Rashid delivered the final piece. A recorded call, he said, placing a small device on the table, between your wife and Dr. Malik, 2 days ago. Harry pressed play. Julia's voice. Once the baby's born, I file for divorce. Harry will never contest custody. He'll be too broken to fight. Farhan's voice. And the company shares? Julia. 50% minimum. He'll give me anything to keep the baby in his life. He doesn't even know it's yours. Farhan laughs. 10 years of marriage and he never suspected a thing. Harry turned off the recording. His hands were shaking now, not from sadness, from something colder. Rashid, he said quietly, I need one more thing from you. Anything. I want you at the hospital on delivery day, with cameras, with everything we have. I'm going to give my wife the celebration of her life. Rashid frowned. What are you planning? Harry looked up, eyes hollow but burning. I'm going to let her think she's won, he said, right up until the moment I take everything away. Harry didn't sleep much anymore, but he smiled every morning. He smiled when Julia rubbed her belly at breakfast. He smiled when his mother called, giddy with excitement about her first grandchild. He smiled through every lie Julia told him, storing each one away like ammunition. Ma wants to throw a small gathering at the hospital, Julia said one morning, sipping her tea. Both families, to celebrate when the baby comes. That's a beautiful idea, Harry said. I'll make sure everyone's invited. Your parents, my parents, cousins. Let's make it a real celebration. Julia beamed. You've been so supportive through all this, Harry. I don't know what I'd do without you. You're about to find out, he thought, smiling wider. That evening, Harry met his lawyer, Advocate Rehan, in private. I need everything airtight, Harry said, sliding the folder across the desk. Recordings, photos, bank documents, hotel records, divorce filing, asset protection, and I want the paperwork ready before the delivery date. Filed, sealed, untouchable. Rehan flipped through the evidence, eyebrows rising. This is thorough, Mr. Harry. You could destroy them both with this. That's the plan. And the child? Harry's jaw tightened. The child is innocent. Whatever happens to its parents, that doesn't change. I'll handle that separately, after the truth comes out. Rehan nodded slowly. You said you want this exposed at the hospital, in front of my family. Are you certain? This isn't a courtroom, Mr. Harry. This is going to be brutal. Harry's eyes were steel. They planned to humiliate me in silence, take my money, my name, my future, and let me raise another man's child thinking it was mine. They don't get to do that quietly. Everyone who loves her needs to see exactly who she is. 2 days before the due date, Mom Harry called Harry, her voice trembling with joy. Beta, I bought the baby's first outfit today, pink and blue both. Just in case, she laughed. Your father would have been so happy, Harry. A grandchild, finally, after all these years of waiting. Harry's throat tightened. Of everyone being deceived, his mother's happiness cut the deepest. Ma, he said quietly, no matter what happens, I need you to know I love you, and everything I'm about to do, I'm doing it to protect this family's dignity. What do you mean, Beta? What's about to happen? You'll understand soon, Ma, I promise. He hung up before his voice could break. The morning of delivery, Julia's water broke at 6 a.m. The hospital corridor filled with family within the hour. Julia's parents, Harry's mother, cousins, aunts, all buzzing with excitement, carrying flowers and gifts. Dr. Oscar walked in, calm and composed, greeting Harry with a firm handshake. Don't worry, Mr. Harry, Farhan said smoothly. I'll take excellent care of your wife and child. Harry shook his hand, holding the grip a second too long. "I know you will, doctor," he said, voice level. "You've been taking very good care of my family for a while now." Something flickered across Farhan's face, confusion, then unease, but he said nothing, simply nodding before heading toward the delivery room. Rashid texted Harry from across the waiting room, disguised as a hospital visitor, camera equipment hidden in a duffel bag. "Everything's set. Say the word." Harry looked at his mother, laughing with Julia's parents. He looked at Julia being wheeled toward the delivery room, clutching her belly, smiling at him with false love. "Harry," she called out, "I'll see you soon. Our baby is coming." Harry smiled back one final time. "I'll be right here," he said, waiting for the truth to be born. The delivery room doors closed. The countdown had begun.
2 hours later, a nurse emerged. "It's a boy! Healthy baby boy!" The waiting room erupted in cheers. Julia's mother wept with joy. "Mom, Harry clutched Harry's arm, tears streaming down her face. "A grandson, Harry. We finally have a grandson." Harry nodded, expression unreadable. "Let's all go in and celebrate properly. Everyone." The entire family crowded into the recovery room. Julia lay in the bed, exhausted but glowing, the newborn wrapped in a blue blanket beside her. Farhan stood near the door, still in his scrubs, smiling proudly like a man admiring his own handiwork. "Everyone, come closer," Julia said weakly, smiling. "Meet our son." The room swelled with warmth, camera flashes, congratulations, laughter. Harry stepped forward. "Before we celebrate," he said, his voice cutting cleanly through the noise, "I have something to share with everyone." The room quieted. "Harry?" Julia said, confused. "What is it?" Harry pulled out his phone and connected it to the small speaker Rashid had planted earlier in the room. 10 years, he began, voice steady. 10 years I waited for this day. For 10 years I trusted my wife completely." He looked at Julia. "But this baby isn't a miracle, is it, Julia?" Julia's face went white. "Harry, what are you talking about?" He pressed play. Julia's voice filled the room. "Once the baby's born, I file for divorce. Harry will never contest custody. He'll be too broken to fight." Farhan's voice. "And the company shares?" Julia, 50% minimum. "He doesn't even know it's yours." Gasps exploded through the room. Julia's mother's hand flew to her mouth. "Mom." Harry staggered back, gripping the wall. That's not what it sounds like," Julia stammered, tears filling her eyes. "Harry, please, let me explain." "You had 10 years to explain," Harry said, voice cold as ice. "I gave you all of them." He turned to Farhan, who had gone rigid by the door. "And you, my wife's college boyfriend, my doctor. You looked me in the eye every single appointment and smiled." "Harry, this is a misunderstanding," Farhan started. "Is it?" Harry pulled out the folder Rashid had prepared. Hotel records, photographs, time-stamped messages. He began laying them across the bed one by one in front of the entire family. 8 months of hotel visits, deleted messages I recovered, a bank inquiry about my company's assets, filed 2 weeks after she got pregnant. Julia's father grabbed the photographs with shaking hands, his face contorting with rage and heartbreak. "Julia, how could you?" "Papa, please," Julia sobbed. Her mother slapped her across the face, the sound sharp and final in the stunned silence. "You disgraced this family! You disgraced yourself!" "Mom." Harry sank into a chair, sobbing. "I bought that baby clothes yesterday. I was so happy." Harry knelt slightly, meeting his mother's eyes. "I'm sorry, Ma. I couldn't let you celebrate a lie." Farhan, cornered, his composure finally cracking, stepped forward with a desperate, twisted smile. "Fine. You want the truth, Harry? Here's the truth you don't know yet." The room went silent again. "This pregnancy," Farhan said slowly, "wasn't an accident. It was timed." Harry's stomach dropped. "What are you talking about?" Farhan looked at Julia, then back at Harry. Something dark glinted in his eyes. "There's a part of this plan," he said, "that even you don't know." The room held its breath. "What plan?" Harry demanded. "Say it." Farhan's smile was bitter now, cornered but still trying to wound. Julia knew a divorce alone wouldn't guarantee her enough. Courts don't always favor the wife in asset splits, not without leverage. So we timed the pregnancy around your company's ownership transfer clause, the one that guarantees automatic inheritance rights to a legitimate heir. if something happens to you before the child turns 5. Harry went still. You didn't just want money from a divorce, he said slowly, understanding dawning like ice water down his spine. You wanted my company's succession line through the child. Congratulations, Farhan said flatly. 10 years of marriage, and you finally caught up. Julia was sobbing now, face buried in her hands. Harry, it wasn't only about money. I swear Don't, Harry said, voice shaking with restraint. Don't you dare say you loved me. He straightened, looking around the room, his mother weeping, Julia's father staring at his daughter like a stranger, the newborn crying softly in the bassinet, utterly unaware of the storm around him. You should both know, Harry said, pulling a final envelope from his jacket. I filed for divorce 4 days ago. Full asset protection. Every share of my company is already legally shielded. Irrevocable trust. No succession claims possible through any child born outside our legitimate marriage timeline. My lawyer verified the child's paternity request was already filed with the court this morning. Julia's face crumbled. You know, this whole time? I've known for weeks, Harry said. I let you keep planning because I needed you to show me exactly who you really are. And you did. Beautifully. Farhan's jaw tightened, refusing to accept defeat. The board will still want continuity, Harry. You think destroying us fixes anything? You'll be a divorced, humiliated man raising nothing that isn't mine. Harry cut him off. The child stays with his mother. That's not cruelty. That's the truth. He's yours, Dr. Malik. Legally, biologically, and now, publicly. The room turned to Farhan, whose composure finally completely shattered. From the doorway, a quiet voice spoke. There's one more thing, Nurse Julie said, stepping into the room. All eyes turned to her. Julie, Julia whispered, confused. Why are you? You don't remember me, do you? Julie said, eyes glassy but steady. College, 2nd year. You stole Farhan from my best friend, the same way you tried to steal a life from Mr. Harry. I watched you do it once already. I wasn't going to watch you destroy someone else and walk away clean. Julia stared at her, speechless. I didn't call Mr. Harry out of duty, Julie said. I called him because some patterns need to be broken before they repeat. Silence swallowed the room. Harry looked at the newborn one last time, an innocent life tangled in a war he never asked to be part of. Something in his chest twisted, grief and finality colliding. Take care of your son, he said quietly to Julia and Farhan. He's the only innocent one in this room. He turned and walked toward the door. Mom, Harry reached for his hand as he passed. Beta. I'm okay, Ma, he said softly. For the first time in months, I'm actually okay. He walked out of the hospital room, leaving behind the wreckage of 10 years, and didn't look back. 6 months later, the divorce was finalized quietly. No drawn-out battle, no courtroom drama. Harry's evidence had been so overwhelming that Julia's lawyer advised her not to contest a single clause. She walked away with nothing but her name, and the child Farhan was now legally bound to support. Farhan lost his position at the hospital within weeks. The board didn't take kindly to a doctor caught manipulating a patient's family for financial gain, especially once Rashid's footage found its way to a local news outlet. His medical license was suspended pending investigation. Julia's family never fully recovered. Her father stopped speaking to her for months. Her mother visited only for the baby's sake, unable to look her daughter in the eye without seeing the betrayal replayed. Harry heard about all of it secondhand. He didn't seek the updates. They simply reached him. The way smoke reaches you even when you've left the fire behind. Mom. Harry moved in with Harry for a while after the divorce. She barely spoke about that day at the hospital, but one evening, over chai, she finally broke the silence. I keep thinking about the outfit I bought, she said quietly. Pink and blue. I never even got to give it to him. You can still send it, Ma, Harry said gently. The child didn't do anything wrong. She looked at her son, really looked at him, the way mothers do when they're searching for cracks beneath composure. You're not angry anymore? Harry considered the question honestly. I was angry for exactly the amount of time I needed to be, he said. Long enough to protect myself, not a day longer. Harry rebuilt slowly. His company grew stronger, ironically. Once the personal chaos cleared, sharper focus, fewer distractions, a mind finally freed from 10 years of quiet doubt he hadn't even realized he was carrying. He didn't remarry right away. He wasn't in a hurry. For the first time since his wedding day, there was no performance in his life. No smiling through lies, no pretending everything was fine when it wasn't. Just peace, real, unglamorous, hard-earned peace. One evening, sitting on his balcony with a cup of tea, his mother beside him, Mom, Harry asked the question that had clearly been sitting on her mind for months. Do you regret it? Exposing them the way you did? In front of everyone? Harry thought about it for a long moment, watching the city lights flicker below. No, he said finally. I didn't do it for revenge, Ma. Not really. I did it because silence would have meant I accepted the lie, and I refused to spend the rest of my life smiling at something that broke me. He took a slow sip of tea, his voice quieter now, more reflective than triumphant. I didn't win by exposing her, he said. I won the day I stopped needing her to love me back. Mom. Harry reached over and squeezed his hand. No words needed. Above them, the city moved on, indifferent and alive, the way it always does. And for the first time in a long, long time, so did Harry.